Hey there, guys. I'm here with my 2024 Money in the Bank review and ratings. I truly felt like overall it was a very good event. I think there was nice thrill to it with some nice high-flying abilities, some extreme things going on, and some huge things to help boost up storylines and make us care more about some of these upcoming storylines. So let's get straight into these ratings and review. First up, they started off strong by starting off with the men's Money in the Bank ladder match. This was one that was just very hard to decide who you wanted your prediction to be. Who do you truly think is going to win? I ended up picking Drew, and I was right. Drew McIntyre ended up getting the win. And then we'll talk about what he did with the briefcase just a little bit later. But overall, I thought the match was very good. I think Chad Gable had a great performance in the match. I mean, he was German suplexing LA Knight out of the ring onto a ladder. Andrade did a Canadian destroyer from the top of the ladder onto another ladder that was propped up against the ladder in the ropes. Carmelo Hayes just seems to be very, very clean with his moves, and LA Knight was very, very over. Everybody was going for LA Knight. Jey Uso's entrance was very good. Everybody was just all with the yeet and moving their arms up and down. So yeah, Jey Uso is clearly over if you didn't already know. But kind of like what I was saying in my predictions video was the only two that truly make a lot of sense is Drew McIntyre and LA Knight. Jey Uso doesn't make sense because I feel like he's going to go straight to the Bloodline storyline next. Chad Gable's off worrying about the Wyatt Six. And I just feel like Andrade and Carmelo Hayes aren't quite ready for that yet. LA Knight just seems like the time is now for him. You don't want him to just keep getting old. And yeah, he's still over with the crowd, but he just doesn't feel like as good as he was when he was in his prime at Crown Jewel going against Roman Reigns, when he just had all these very cool feuds where he was putting on these great promos. We want that again, and we want him to get the world title. And Drew makes sense so he could boost his storyline with CM Punk. But overall, I was just very excited for the match. I thought it would be great. There's just a lot of talent in here, a lot of good in-ring workers to make it a good match. And that it was. I'm going to give it a B+. Drew McIntyre ended up getting the win, and my prediction was correct. So I'm 1-0 for my predictions. Next up, we got for the Intercontinental Championship, of course, the champion at the time, taking on Bron Breakker. Not only did Bron Breakker have a great performance in this match, he also debuted a new theme song, which I'm like, it's okay. I kind of preferred the sirens. I feel like you just hear those sirens and it's like, here comes Bron Breakker. Now it's kind of like, okay. But as always, Bron Breakker shows up in his nice, colorful gear. He's just a very toyetic guy. I love his figures. He's always got very cool attires, very colorful. So, yeah, I was just very excited, and I really was wanting Bron Breakker to get the win, and I believe that was my prediction for Bron Breakker to win, and I truly did think he would win. But it turns out Sami Zayn ended up retaining, which is actually very surprising, because I only expected Sami to be a transitional champion. Figured he'd put over the young rising star that we see a lot in, a future world champion. But they definitely surprised me in letting Sami Zayn retain. But even if I do strongly disagree with the outcome of the match, it's still a great match. In ring, it was a great match. So I'm going to give it a B+. I thought both guys did a very good job in this match. And then going into the show, we knew that Trish Stratus was going to be the host. And so, of course, all wondering what she's going to do. She really didn't even do anything, actually, with it through the entire show until she introduced John Cena to come out to the ring. So here comes Cena, and as you see, it says the last time is now. He gets a towel, and it says the last time is now. The back of his shirt says you can't see me now, or something like that. All of it hinting towards his retirement. And of course, everybody knowing that his retirement must be coming soon, he kind of hinted at it when he did lose to Solo Sikoa, leaving his gear in the middle of the ring. So people were thinking maybe that's his retirement match, but it turns out his last year active as an in-ring performer is going to be 2025. It's going to be his retirement tour, I guess we could call it, where he's going to have a match at WrestleMania, and it's going to be his last match at WrestleMania. He's going to have a match at next year's SummerSlam, and that's going to be his last match. It's going to be the 2025 tour for John Cena. That will be his retirement. Of course, John Cena carried the company for years, so this is very sad, but honestly, we knew it was coming. He's slowing down in ring. He's barely even there. He's really on like a very, very part-time schedule. He's only there for the big events and stuff like that. So yeah, it's confirmed 2025 is his last year. Now we got some things that we could think about. Who's going to be his last opponent? Will he retire going against like a long-time opponent like Randy Orton, or will he put over a young star? You never really know, but he did confirm in the post-show that he's done in-ring completely. He won't do any accidentally going through a table shots or nothing like that. He's not going to be a special guest referee. He's just not going to do anything in-ring. So yeah, congratulations to John Cena, although it is very, very sad to know that the end is now. Next up is for the World Heavyweight Championship. Of course, going into the match, Damian Priest was your champion, and he was taking on the former World Heavyweight Champion, Seth Rollins. And Damian Priest ended up going out with the title, but there were some twists. Like I had said, Drew McIntyre won the men's Money in the Bank, and I actually figured that he would try and cash it in, and CM Punk would, of course, ruin it for him, and he would fail the cash in, and I was correct. But before we do get into all of that, I just want to kind of talk about the match itself. I thought they really worked very good together. And Seth Rollins, I mean, this surgery must have really worked for him. He was doing some high-flying moves that we've never even seen him do in his entire career. I mean, I'm serious. And he was just moving fast and very, very well. Glad to see Seth Rollins looking healthy. And a lot of people were surprised that actually the Judgment Day didn't get involved. It ended up just being Drew and CM Punk, which I was actually kind of glad about, just because it does get a little chaotic when all of the Judgment Day's out there. But one unfortunate thing is it was botched. The coming out of Drew McIntyre was very, very botched. And it was very clear, but if you watch the post show, you also saw where Triple H talked about the botch. And he's like, I hate how wrestling fans only talk about the botch. Like, it was a good match. They did a very good job. They are human. They will mess up. You can't just look at and know that they messed up and judge the whole match because of it. That's not what I'm trying to do, but it's definitely considerable that they did definitely mess up, and it got me a little confused there for a little bit. So Seth Rollins had pinned him, and the ref clearly counted to 3. Damian did not kick out. I mean, his arm touched the floor the third time. There's no denying that. And then about 3 seconds after that, when they kind of made it look weird, kind of made it like Damian kicked out, but it was like already, I don't know, it was weird. Then here comes Drew. He's got the Money in the Bank briefcase, so I don't quite know what happened. I don't know if it was the audio or just the technical issues that messed up to where his entrance music was supposed to hit right when the pin was supposed to end, to where it would interrupt the pinfall. But that definitely didn't happen. It was definitely delayed, or maybe Damian was supposed to kick out, but he didn't. I don't know. But it just looked very, very weird. But of course, even though I was confused in the moment, it ended up making sense, because Drew McIntyre comes out, he cashes in, and they turn it into a triple threat match. Right when Drew McIntyre is starting to take everybody out, here is CM Punk. He took out McIntyre with a chair, so then Drew was just completely laid out. And then Punk went and literally sat crisscross applesauce on the announce table while he watched Damian get the win. So there, Damian wins, and then CM Punk's just still looking there all cocky as usual. And then here comes around in the corner Seth Rollins. Right now, we've kind of just been leading up to Drew McIntyre versus CM Punk at SummerSlam, most likely. But now, Seth Rollins has shown anger towards Punk, like he wants to go against Punk as well. But like I was saying, even though the botch definitely was noticeable, these guys were working all through the match, and I think they did a great job. I really enjoyed the match. I think I'm going to go with a B+ for this one. And while we're talking about Drew McIntyre, I know this happened after the show went off and we went to the post-show. I still want to talk about it just because I'm not going to do a whole part at the end just for the post-show. So, of course, you got Wade Barrett, you got Big E, and I think Kathy Kelly's her name. But they're all just talking about everything, and then here comes Drew McIntyre. He's completely just throwing things everywhere, just destroying the whole set. So right behind him comes Adam Pearce. Drew McIntyre starts throwing around Adam Pearce, so then Wade Barrett backs up. They're all trying to get Drew McIntyre out of there, and then while I was in the middle of recording this video, I get a notification saying that Drew McIntyre is quote-unquote suspended for life from Raw. So, of course, it'll be nice to see him be quote-unquote suspended, then show up and attack CM Punk. But yeah, that was definitely very cool. Now we move on to the women's Money in the Bank match. With my prediction, I was down to either Chelsea Green or Tiffany Stratton getting the win. I did explain that I like Io Sky, but I feel like I don't think she should win the women's Money in the Bank 2 years in a row. Naomi's at that point. I don't really see her winning anything like this. And then Zoe Stark, I don't think she's ready yet. I just don't see them doing that. And then Lyra Valkyria. Lyra Valkyria is having a great push. People really like her, and people were saying that she's the sneaky underdog. She might win. I just never really, I didn't see them doing it, and I don't think they should have done it. And I was right. Tiffany Stratton ended up getting the win. Right at the end, I swore Chelsea Green was getting the win. She was up there by herself, and I completely forgot about the 2 tables being set up outside of the ring. And so then here comes Tiffy. She knocks the ladder and Chelsea Green down, and Chelsea completely just eats the entire fall. She goes through both tables, and it was a great moment. To be honest, in these women's type matches, we don't really see crazy stuff like that happening like we usually do in the men's matches. But hey, she's the wife of the Deathmatch King, Matt Cardona. I guess she's the Deathmatch Queen. So yeah, that was definitely a great spot. And it's like they came out there and they were trying to just outdo the men. They were just trying to do these extreme things to really get the match over. They had Naomi's leg on one ladder and one on the other, and they start just completely stretching her apart. Then she ends up turning it into a DDT. And so that was a great moment. They just had a lot of spots where they're jumping out of the ring, jumping off the ladder onto each other. Tiffany's doing moonsaults onto everybody to the outside of the ring. Just an overall great match, and I think Tiffy had a great performance, and she definitely deserves the win. I'd say overall, this is probably the best match. I'm going to give it an A-. Now we move on to what I was most excited for. Of course, the Bloodline storyline is the hottest thing going, and it hasn't even started. It's just the talk about it. The excitement for it to happen is enough for it to be the most hyped up thing in wrestling. So this match consists of Cody Rhodes, Randy Orton, and Kevin Owens taking on Tama Tonga, Jacob Fatu, and your new tribal chief, quote-unquote, Solo Sikoa. And they were accompanied by Tonga Loa. My only job is to do a low blow, but I continue to just botch it. Kind of guy. I don't know what happened at the end, but we'll get into it later. Overall, the match actually went a lot longer than I thought it did. They took a lot of just in-ring work, and it was actually very good. But it just took them a while until the actual big, huge fight started to happen, where they're just completely trying to crush each other. I do like how they're having Jacob Fatu as like a huge threat. Whenever he hops in the ring, it just seems like it's a whole new atmosphere. It's a whole new world. It just makes them seem a lot more realistic. Now, I did think it was weird how he kind of no-sold Randy Orton's DDT that he's known for like taking people out with. But I mean, I'm really not worried about that. Tama Tonga is actually a very, very good worker, a very high-speed worker, very entertaining, unlike his brother Tonga Loa. But yeah, that's where we're going to get into. And I do want to say Solo Sikoa looked great in this match. A lot of people are worried about Solo not being a big enough name to go with the top guys. He's just too young. He doesn't have enough name value to be able to go against these top guys that they're putting him in there with to actually sound realistic. But he's doing good, making himself look intimidating. And yeah, I just really enjoyed it. And then now we're going to get into the botch spot. Now you got Kevin Owens. He's holding up Tama Tonga, about to hit a very nice pile driver onto him. And Tonga Loa comes in to do a low blow. First off, the first low blow, he completely misses Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens just continues to walk forward. He doesn't feel it, because when you do a low blow, this is how it works best in wrestling. When you low blow, you hold it up there. You got to let the crowd cheer for it. You got to let it sell. I don't care how it is. He completely just puts his hand up there and brings it back down like nothing ever happened. And so then he has to move back, go forward, then try it again. So where he's like trying to tap on to Kevin Owens to let him know to drop Tama Tonga because, I'm low blowing you. I just want to let you know. And then he ends up hitting Tama Tonga in the head in the middle of the low blow. So come on, your only job is to low blow. That's your main part of the match. You have nothing else to do and you botch it. Like I said earlier, botches are going to happen. These are humans. But WWE's production is great, and you just can't have all these people messing up the ends of the matches, because that's what everybody's going to remember. The end of the match is the most important part, really. Now, some people may say it's disappointing because we didn't get Roman Reigns, we didn't get The Rock, we didn't get Zilla Fatu, we didn't get the other guy that's related to Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa. And I'm kind of with it. I was hoping to see them here too, but I also understand that you don't want to rush the feud. You don't want them to have all the good stuff to happen right now, then have to just stall until SummerSlam. But overall, I really liked the match towards it. And I'm just ready to see what happens next with the Bloodline. I just want WWE to come on right now. I want to know what's happening. But yeah, that's my Money in the Bank 2024 review and ratings. I really like the show. I'm going to give it an overall grade of a B+. All of the matches were really around B+, and so that's just where I'm going to set it at for now. I think they did good at boosting some feuds that we're getting really ready for SummerSlam. That's right around the corner. It's coming fast. And so yeah, I'll see you guys on the next one, and I'm just ready to see what happens next in the wrestling world.